allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, thank you. We do have 4 board members, so we do have enough for a meeting. Again, 119 Tweed Boulevard will not be heard tonight. So if there's anybody here for that, it will not be heard. It's being postponed for a later date. I'm not sure what the date is. So if there's anybody here for that, it will not be heard. Okay, moving on. First item is Griffin Site Plan Performance Bond, PB 19-29. Mr. Griffin, are you here?
I'm here.
Okay, thank you. Oh, Mr. Dell is here also. Thank you. Okay, let me go through roll call because I see some of the other board members are checking in, so I just want to go through. Mr. Young, if you're here, please chime in. Okay, so far he's not here. Thank you. Mr. Mandel.
Present.
Thank you very much, sir. Mr. Sweeney.
Present.
Thank you very much. Mr. Dell.
I'm here, sir.
Thank you very much. Mr. Andrews. No answer. Mr. McCory.
Mr. McCrory's here.
Thank you very much. Mr. Bond. Okay, no answer. Okay. Mr. Griffin, go ahead.
This is just for release of the performance bond for the drainage work on the Sunrise Lane subdivision. So I think it just
Okay.
needs to be read into the record.
Right. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, Jane Slavin's letter dated September 3rd. This department has no further comments. Department of Environmental Management and Engineering, Town of Orangetown, August 5th. Please be advised that all the requirements of our respective departments have been complied and satisfied. We therefore recommend the release of the performance bond for the above referenced project, which is the Griffin site plan. The department heads is Department of Engineering, Edmund Riley, Highway Department, James Dean, and Sewer Department, Edmund Riley. Okay, and that's all I have. Cheryl, is there anything else on that?
That's all.
Thank you very much. Okay, Mr. Andrews has arrived also. Okay, let me do that. Okay, thank you. Okay, I'm gonna open it up to the board. Mr. Young, did you get here yet? No, okay. Mr. Mandel, questions or comments, sir?
No comments. Recommended to the town board for release.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Sweeney,
No comments. I'm good with the recommendation.
thank you very much. Mr. Dell,
No comments. Let's proceed with this. Thank you.
thank you very much. Mr. Andrews, Mr. Andrews, turn your mic on, please.
Okay, I'm good with it. No problem.
Thank you very much. Mr. McCory,
No comments. I'm good with the recommendation.
thank you very much. And Mr. Bond is not here. Okay, I'm gonna open it up to the public. Anybody in the public wish to state any comments, questions on this app? One more time, I'll open it up to the public. Does anybody else have any questions or comments on this performance bond release? Okay, hearing none, I entertain a motion to close.
Mr. Mandel, motion to close public portion.
Okay, Mr. Mandel makes the motion. Do I have a second?
Andrew seconds.
Mr. Andrews seconds. Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Aye.
Any opposition? Hearing no opposition, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 ayes and no opposition. You got your performance on, Mr. Griffin. Thank you
All right,
very much.
thank you. Have a great night, everybody.
Yes, you too. Thank you very much. Okay, the next application is PB 20-36 Dexter Plaza Site Plan, Lot 101.3. Mr. Brenner.
Good evening, Board. I represent Mr. Pertucci, who's the owner of 2 buildings in the Dexter complex. I think the board is well aware this is a building complex that's been in the town of Orangetown for many years. Pearl area specifically, it's over 100 years old. Mr. Bertuzzi acquired it. He's actually upgraded the buildings continuously. And I think if you visit the site, you'll see how well he has upgraded his facility. It has always bothered him, even though he's not required, that he felt that the upper floors should have other exits so they can leave the place in an emergency. This program is basically, he's trying to install several, I guess we can call them stairways, so that the upper floors will have additional places to walk from the second story. Have with us tonight the architect who designed it, Al Dottoli. We have Jay Greenwell, who's done the survey, and we have Matera Quintera, who's his executive coordinator. Mr. Bertuzzi is actually pouring concrete at the Pearl High School today, and he's sorry he could not make it. I think if you take a look at the drawings, you'll see it's a good plus for the Dexter property.
Okay, thank you, sir. Let me go through the consultant's comments. Office of Building, Zoning, and Planning, Jane Slavin, September 3rd. She has 2 items. Department of Environmental Management and Engineering, Town of Orangetown, Bruce Peters, September 8th, has 1 item. This department has no comment on this project this time. Rocklin County Planning, August 17th. They have 6 items. I believe 60, yes, 6 items.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
this is Jay Greenwell speaking.
yes, sir.
We would like to request an override of number 4. The county is requesting a parking calculation. The parking in this whole area has been studied numerous times, particularly in connection with the planning board's review of a commercial subdivision which was approved, wherein parking allocation for the entire complex was reviewed in detail.
In your past projects too, you have submitted parking calculations, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you. I don't know why they would do that, because you're not adding any additional floor space or people or employees, whatever. You're just adding a supposed emergency exit. Okay.
Mr.
Exactly
Chairman,
right.
I can
Yes,
explain
Ms.
it, Mr. Chairman. Where the stairs are coming down, it looked like it was taking over 2 parking spots. So I had actually asked Jay Greenwell early in the review, before it actually was assigned to the planning board, to confirm that those spots will not be lost. They just had to shift them a few feet. It doesn't affect anything on the site. So he hasn't lost any parking spots.
Okay. So, okay. Do we need to override this, because it's basically a moot point? Well, you know what? Well, anyway, this way nothing can come back.
Right,
Okay,
I think that's
Mr.
the
Chairman.
safest bet.
If I may.
Yes, Jay.
The comment is going to come up again on the next item, which is 4 to 6 Dexter Plaza. And that's where the comment from the county comes in about the 2 spaces that we moved. So I would suggest that we ask for an override on that, because the parking calculation, as I mentioned, has been exhaustively reviewed.
Okay. And Rick, you go along with that too? Okay.
I do, Mr. Chairman, yes.
Okay, thank you very much. At this, I'd like.
Mr. Chairman,
Excuse me.
I believe we could take
Oh,
both.
Mr. Brenner, go ahead.
I believe we could take both buildings at the same time. In other words, both applications, we could do like 1 vote for both buildings, because it's the same situation where he's put stairs in for both buildings.
All right, let me ask the town attorney on that.
Yeah, I would say you can discuss both at the same time, but you do need 2 separate votes.
Okay, so that's fine. So right now, we'll ask for a vote on this one, and then when we get to the next application, we'll ask for a vote on it. Okay, I'd like to have a motion to override number 4 of Rocklin County Planning dated August 17th. A parking calculation shall be provided to ensure that there is adequate number of parking spaces being provided. the applicant is not disturbing existing parking, so the number of parking places, spots are staying the same. Do I have that motion?
Mr. Chairman, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Can we eliminate that if we get the motion and the votes, but make a stipulation to make sure that the parking spaces are to be moved so that they don't lose any parking places?
These parking spaces, supposed parking spaces that are in question are actually, they are not going to be any way affected by this staircase. The parking places will stay the same. Nothing's going to change.
But I thought it was said that they had to be moved
No.
in order to keep them.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Jay.
there is a comment from the county. There is a comment from the county in the next application, which does address the issue of, sorry, my phone's ringing, which does address the issue of 2 parking spaces which were slightly impacted by the staircase. That has been adjusted by a drawing that I submitted to Jane Slavin's office, and that will come up as item number 4 in the next county planning board review. So I would suggest we just leave that issue, if we could, aside for now and just act on 60-70 and the request for an override on number 4, because there is no change to the parking for 4-6. I'm sorry,
Okay.
60-7.
Mr. Chairman, are those spots gonna be moved over, or are they gonna stay exactly where they are now?
Okay, Mr. Mandel, I think we're going to address that in the next application.
No, not on the second one, on the current application where there's
Yes, sir.
storage now on those 5 spots. Are they gonna stay exactly where they are, or are they gonna be moved over a couple of feet?
Jay?
I'm looking it up. I'm not sure where you're asking, Mr. Mandel.
5 spots that are by the stairway that would be on the north side of the building. Just past the stairway, you have 5 spots. You have the new landing, you have the staircase.
On the
you
south
have-
side of lot 4, on the south side of the building on lot 4,
Right, lot 4, south side.
those are staying where they are. The 2 spaces that are in the way of the staircase are being moved westerly towards the creek by about 5 feet.
All right. Okay. But
So
they
there would be
should
no
cleaned
change
up.
to the net number of spaces.
Okay, if they were usable, all right.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I still think we should have an override because the way it's worded, they're asking for something, they're asking for a study which has already been given. So I do think number 4 should still be overrid on both projects.
Well, I agree. I want to handle this one first, and I know that with Mr. Mandel, that there's some issues with the other site in respect to parking. I think we get to that one, we can address that one at the time. Let's do one at a time instead of just doing a blank override. Does the board agree on that? Okay, I haven't heard any comment. If the board agrees now to go with an override on this one, this is 1.3, I believe, that we override item number 4 in respect to the parking. Can I have somebody make that motion?
Motion to override, Rockland County Planning number 4, based upon the fact that the 5 spots are going to remain and they're not going to be altered or moved or eliminated.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mandel. Do I have a second?
3 seconds.
Mr. Sweeney seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Is there any opposition? Okay, no opposition, so they're all in favor. Okay, so number 4 in Rockland County Planning, dated August 17th, number 4 is overridden by the board. Let me go on. Okay, Rockland County Drainage Agency, where's the date? I get received September 4th. They have reviewed the above project, and it's just basically a letter, and they're leaving it up to, they do not object to planning board assuming responsibility. We also have a letter from New York State DEC dated August 3rd. In respect to the freshwater waterways. And it does not appear that the project of this nature would have any impact on it. And then I have a short EAF. Cheryl, is there anything else?
There was a notice from Suez saying they had no interest.
Oh,
in
yes,
the
yes,
project.
excuse me, I did see that. And excuse me for it. I gotta find the crazy thing. I might have put it in the other package. Excuse me for a moment. I know I did have it. Okay, I think that was referring to the other applications. I'm sorry, I can't find it. Cheryl, could you read that letter or make comment on it in respect to the dates and who wrote it?
Bill Prahota from Suez, August 6th, 2020. No interest, no further reviews required.
Okay, thank you very much. Darn it, I know I did have that. I'm sorry. Okay, so that's it. Okay, the board. Anybody on the board have any questions or comments? Mr. Young, are you here yet? No, okay. Mr. Mendel?
No comments at this time. In case there's public comments, I'll make any further at that time. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Mr. Sweeney?
No comments.
Thank you very much, sir. Mr. Dell?
Yes, a number of comments and some questions. First of all, are these stairways required by code, or is this something that the building owner just wants to put in?
They are not required by code. It's an additional safety factor which the building owner would like to put in.
Okay, what is the square footage of the area being serviced by this?
You have that, Jay?
I think Al might have to get that one.
So you don't have it at this time?
I don't have the calculation of the square footage, but each of them, the one on 60-70 is serving the second floor of that building. The one at 4-6 is servicing the Defiant Brewery space.
Okay. Well, what's the occupancy limit on the floor where this is, and what's the use at this time?
The again, I don't have that information on hand. The use on 60-70 is office space, and the 4-6 is the Defiant Brewery. That's a brewery with seating for customers as well.
Okay. My concern here is primarily safety, and
as is ours.
Stairway coming down, which should be adequate for the first one, is fine. For the second, where you're going to have patrons possibly in a mild state of possibly inebriation, whatever, I think that width should be increased to 5 feet. I believe the landing, that first landing that you have, should be extended about another 2 feet, and the corners rounded to facilitate people getting out of there. If this unforeseen and hopefully what never happens tragedy unfolds, it could be definitely an issue, because I believe they'll all get compacted and you might not be able to get many people out of there as quickly as you might like. It applies more to the second one, which is more of a, obviously a type of operation than this one. But I had to state that for the record, and I think it's something the applicant may want to consider. It may not be required under some of the codes, but I think it could potentially save some lives. I would like to hear what your engineer has to say about that and if he understands where I'm coming from.
If I may answer that, I do understand where you're coming from. Presently, there is enough, there is more than adequate egress from these spaces based on the code requirements. The building owner wants to add each of these staircases as additional means of egress. I don't believe he would have a problem increasing the sizes. I could talk to him. These are sized so that if it was a second means of egress requirement, they would be adequate. And again, they're more than a second means of egress. Each of the spaces already have two means of egress.
I understand, but this may indeed, given an unforeseen and tragic circumstance, may become the primary way of egress.
I understand.
To do that, to increase it to 5 feet, extend the platform round the corners, it'll ensure everyone will get out of there safely rather than potentially have injuries, etc. And I wish the applicant would certainly consider that one. I think on the second one, it's going to be more important. On this one, I think they should also consider it as an option, but at least this way you have a heads up to my main concern on this. The other board members may have different opinions, but I think because of the way I know the Bertucci family for many years, I know the way they take care of things, I would think it would be something they would want to do as a matter of course. Thank you.
That may very well be the case. My client is not available right now to authorize me to do that. I will speak to him about it.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Chairman.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Andrews?
I have nothing further with this particular plan.
Thank you very much. Mr. McCory?
Thank you, Chairman. I like the additional second means of egress. It always makes the building safer. And if it's built to code, even better, you know? And if you can talk to the owner and address Mr. Dell's request, I think that'd be great. But I like this plan and I like the second means of egress for the building. So that's the only comment.
Thank you very much. Okay, want to open it up to the public now?
Mr. Chairman?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, Mr. Mandel.
Yes,
I
Mr.
have
Mandel.
to, on regards to the stairway that Mr. Dell was talking about that services the Defiant Brewery. Yes, there are two current egresses from that building. One is out the front door onto the railroad tracks, that side of the building. The other one is down 2 sets of stairs, which are very difficult, which I thought in the first place was not adequate. They have, when the place is reopened, they have a large area in there that has a bandstand. A number of people would be in there. And I concur with Mr. Dell that stairway should be made wider and should be rounded because it poses a very definite safety matter when it comes to large groups and people start to panic in the case of a fire. So I'd just like to add that in. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, anybody else from the board? Okay, hearing none. Okay, I'm going to open it up to the public. Is there anybody in the public that wishes to speak on this application? Okay, one more time. Anybody from the public that wish to speak on this comment, on this project? Okay, hearing none. Can I have a motion to close the public?
I move to close the public portion.
Okay, Mr. Andrews makes the motion to close it.
Mr. Mandel, second.
Mr. Mandel, second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Any opposition? No opposition. Okay. Mr. Young, thank you, sir. Okay, very good. So we actually, in respect to the concerns about that staircase, I think the only direction we're going to right now is to give them preliminary and see if the applicant would want to redesign that staircase. And at that point, they're gonna have to come back anyway. this way they'll be able to move on and go on to the other boards if needed. Okay, so, Mr. Dell, you can't raise your hand. You got to say something. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes. Who's
Okay,
got
this
your
is the
phone?
thought.
Please shut it off. Go ahead, Mr. Dell.
Yes, thank you very much, sir. As a thought, it can be put in there as a recommendation, and if they comply with that recommendation, assuming that it's approved by the building department, they shouldn't have to come back to us. I think it's just a minor change.
All right, would you want to go with final then?
Yes, I would, with this one being an option. And the second one, I think it should be a requirement.
Don't they still have to go to Akabor anyway?
Well, I think in this case, and I was on Akabor, as you know, some of you others have been, I think it's kind of superfluous to send this to Akabor because it's basically in the rear of a building by a parking lot, and it's in a developed area. And since they're not creating any architectural adornment by this, I don't really know if that would be appropriate because you're obviously not going to put in any landscaping. And I don't think they're going to paint it flaming yellow or have flashing lights on it. So I think it should be fine. I think I would be in favor of it not going to them if we could do that.
Okay.
Make it easier for the applicant.
Mr. Brenner, you could request that it not have to go to Akabor. It sounds like perhaps that would be wise.
Yes, in fact, I was making a request that it could be final resolution, and I see no reason why it should go to Akabor.
Okay, so
I brought it up because going to Akabor is one of Jane's comments. I don't know how she feels about that.
Yeah, I think we should ask Jane. She's the one who suggested go to Akabor.
Well, it's not a suggestion, it's actually a requirement in our code. However, the board does have the authority to override that requirement. And as Mr. Bacola mentioned, the applicant can ask for a waiver from that requirement by the planning board, which some applicants have done in the past.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Brenner,
Yes, I'm requesting that it be waived and that the board vote on a final approval.
okay. Okay, now the motion is that the applicant gets final and that the planning board waives their need to go to Akabor. Is that, and we're gonna add Mr. Dell's comments also, but is that the way we want to have this written? Mr. Mandel?
Yes, is that going to, the staircase, is that this recommendation, or is that going to be a condition upon the final approval?
Well, I think what Mr. Dell was saying before, that is a recommendation for this applicant, and that it is a more or less of a requirement for the next.
Is this the Defiant stairway or the other stairway?
I'm not sure. Mr. Brennan, which,
The first one is the other stairway.
this is the other stairway. Okay,
Defiant 4-6, this I think is 60-70.
okay, so this is for the office complex.
Sure.
Okay, so, everybody happy the way that's worded? Cheryl, does that make sense?
Yeah, I have all the information.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so who makes that motion? Mr. Mandel?
Question.
Mr. Chairman, I think you want to do secret lead agency first.
Yeah, I know. Okay.
It's the question. Is this the
Yes, sir.
stairway by the gate that leads out to the train station area?
I don't believe it is.
Well, if it's not, then the other one is the one that leads to Defiant.
Yes, that's what we said, that this one is for space, that the next one is for Defiant.
No, I think it's the other way around.
This one is Defiant?
If you look at the drawing, the one that's leading towards the railroad is 60, which is the one we're talking about. Defiant is the one that leads to the parking lot.
Okay,
Mr.
which
Chairman?
one is this?
In other words, the font is 4-6, this one is 60, and this stairway is leading to where the railroad is.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Is this lot 3 or lot 4?
Wait, hold on, sir. Go ahead, sir.
I just spoke with Mr. Bertucci. He is more than willing to make the staircase for Defiant 5 feet wide and the landing larger with rounded corners for the
Excellent.
Defiant staircase.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
That's for Defiant.
Yes.
Thank you. So let's get it straight. The one we're on now, which is lot 1.3, is this for Defiant or is this for the office space?
I think it's for the office space.
1.3 is 60-70, which is for the office space.
Okay, so this is the one we're concerned with right now. Lot 1.3 is the staircase for the office space. So this is the one that we are suggesting that they look into. We're not requiring them to do it, okay? And then when we get to the other one, then we can put it in. Okay, is everybody happy with that? That we're suggesting they look into enlarging the staircase and rounding corners and the platform and everything else. Okay. Okay, so let me have a motion for lead agent, please.
Motion
Anyone?
for lead agency, Mr.
Hey,
Mandel.
Mr. Mandel, lead agent. Do I have a second?
I'll give second. McCrory.
Okay, who had the second? I'm sorry.
McCrory.
Oh, Mr. McCrory, second. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposition?
Hey, Tom. It's
Yes,
Bruce
sir.
Bond. I'm on my phone, so I can't access you guys, but I'm on my phone.
Okay.
I'm listening to it.
Okay,
Yeah.
Bruce,
Just to let
Bruce, we have a full board now, so you don't have to vote,
Okay,
okay?
good. All right, that's fine. No problem. I couldn't see everybody on my screen here, so I just want to make sure. No
Yeah,
problem.
we have-
I'll shut my mic off. No problem.
Okay, thanks, Bruce. Bruce, if you're gonna still be around, please do, because in case you have any input, please let us have it. Okay?
Yeah, I'll hang around, so not a problem.
Okay, thank you. Okay. I got lost then. Okay, so everybody went for a lead agent. Okay, neg deck. Motion for neg deck. Can I have a motion?
Motion for neg deck, Mr. Mandel.
Mr. Mandel, neg deck. Mr. Dell seconds it. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, any opposition? Any opposed? None. Okay. I want a motion for final with the condition, let me read them. Jane Slavin's September 3rd letter, she has 2 points, 2 items. Department of Environmental,
One
excuse
item,
me?
one item in Ms. Slavin's.
Yes, okay. We're gonna override number 1, where the applicant has asked and not to go to ACA board, and the board has granted that so that they do not have to go to ACA board on this decision. Okay?
Mr. Chairman, I would just phrase that as waiving the ACABOR as opposed to overriding.
Okay, we're waiving Jane Slavin's number 1 in respect to ACA board review. Okay? Department of Environmental Management and Engineering, Bruce Peters, September 6th, has 1 item. Rocklin County Department of Planning, dated August 17th. They have a total of 6 items, but the board has overridden number 4 in respect to the parking calculations shall be provided to ensure that the adequate number of parking spaces being provided. We've overridden that. And Rocklin County Drainage, September 4th. New York State DEC, August 3rd. And that's it. Okay, the fine, okay, I mean, we've done everything. We've bypassed ACA board. So, do I have a second on that?
I don't think we have a first. I'll make the first, Sweeney.
Okay, Mr. Sweeney, Okay, you made the motion. Okay, thank you, sir. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Mandel, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? No opposition. Okay, good. That one's done. Thank you. Okay, the next one is PB 20-37 Dexter Plaza Site Plan Lot 1.4. This is the one where it's, what the hell is it? Defiant Brewery. Okay, Mr. Brenner.
Again, the comments were pretty much the same. We will look for an override for number 4, again, based on the fact that no parking is lost. We will request also that we not appear before Akabor, and the client has indicated he will widen the size for the stairs, which was a request of one of the board members, and we would like that it be approved for final with the waiver of Akabor.
Okay, fine. Let me,
Mr. Chairman, if I may, I just want to make one correction. We're actually
Sure.
asking for an override of number 6 on this one.
What's number 6 on that one? Okay.
Number 4, we're in compliance with.
Oh, okay.
okay, so 4 is okay. We're looking to do number 6. Okay, fine.
Mr.
Okay, let me
Chairman.
go through the comments. Yes.
Chairman, I'm looking at the plans for the stairs. Lot number 3, which is 1.3, is, I believe, the stairs for Defiant. That's the staircase that comes out to the Defiant. Lot number 4, which is 1.4, I believe is the staircase for the office. If you look at the plans,
It's just that the letter says Dexter Plaza Lot 1.3 is 60-70 Dexter, and 60-70 Dexter is the office building.
well, then the plan is wrong.
The number on the plan is incorrect. An error on my side. 1.4 is the Defiant Brewery.
We need to make that change on the plans,
Will
because
do,
of
yes.
everything that we just went through.
That will be corrected.
I think what we may have to do is go back to what we just approved and redo that. I mean,
think you-
correct me if I'm wrong, but because we're looking at the plan and the plan is wrong, our decision that we just made would be wrong also.
The first, the sheet number A1 is the office space. That's lot 1.3. That one is correct. Sheet number 2 is 4-6, lot number 4. That one will be corrected to indicate 1.4. 4-6 Dexter, lot 1.4.
I think that's correct.
Okay, so where are we? Do we have to go back to the beginning now on the other one?
I don't think we need to belabor that. Good catch, Mr. Andrews. Ms. Slavin, I think as long as the building department knows that that has to be corrected. I mean, as long as they voted, PB 2036 was the office space. As long as that's the case, I think the vote is a good vote. And as long as the plans are corrected, that should be sufficient.
Okay.
one other thing that I just want to point out, I'm looking at the blueprint for the staircases. And there's a blueprint here that I believe shows a fence. Which staircase is that? It shows some kind of a chain link fence.
That's Defiant.
Okay, so, all right, so that's the one we're on now.
Yes.
Correct.
All right, so when we get to my questioning, I want to question that fence, where that's gonna go.
Okay, fine, when we get there, thank you. All right, let me go through the comments. Okay, Jane Slavin, September 3rd. Again, the number one comment is the Act Board review and approval is required. We're gonna waiver that. Rick, does that need an official vote or we can just waiver it?
That would need a vote, but I guess sometimes in the past, all that was included in the final vote, so you can include that in the discussion.
Okay, well, I want to do it right now, so we know that it's done, okay?
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Andrews, again, do we want to eliminate Akabor because now there's a fence going up there, and I think Akabor might want to take a look at that to see what kind of fence it's going.
There's really nothing for them to look at back there.
I would also suggest.
Have you been back there? It's nothing really to look at.
Yeah,
Mr.
but it's
Chairman, I would also recommend doing the voting after.
Okay, wait, we got too many people talking at the time, please. Do me a favor, Mr. Mandel, shut your mic off. Mr. Dell, shut your mic off. This way I can see who's talking. I don't know who's talking. There's too many going on at a time. Okay. Who was just talking? I think Mr. Andrews was just talking. Go ahead, Mr. Andrews, what do you say?
Well, my concern is there must be a reason why they want to put a fence up there. Is it to block people from running into the train tracks, or I don't know. By the blueprint, I can't tell where it's going to go. They're just showing a fence.
Okay, well, if you want, maybe what we can do is we can leave that in, but we could still go ahead and give them a final with, as long as they get approval from Akabor, the final will go through. It would always just make them go to Akabor. If you're, wait, we have two going at the same time. Mr. Andrews, hold on a second. Mr. Sweeney.
I say, well, I don't know why we're jumping to way back before we've heard anything about this project at all. Ms. Andrews' questions are good. Why don't we wait until we get to final and we're making conditions, decide if we should waive this or not? Let's just have a discussion either way. We haven't talked about this project at all, and we're talking about waiving things already.
I agree with Mr. Sweeney.
Mr. Chairman, we're talking about the fence that's by the railroad tracks.
Yes.
That's currently there. That's not an addition. That fence is there with the gate.
If I'm not
That's to
mistaken,
provide
that's a fenced transformer area.
Okay, Mr. Jay, go ahead, please.
I believe that's a fenced transformer area, and I believe Mr. Mendel is correct. Is that right, Al?
That fence is, it is fenced around it's an existing fence around a transformer area. It exists already.
Okay, I just didn't know why it was on the plan there. I thought it was an addition.
No, it's existing.
It's just showing it that it's there.
That's
All right.
correct. It's
Let's go
existing.
through this, and then when we have time for the board discussion, you can bring it up. Okay, Jane, September 3rd, has two items. Bruce Peters, September 8th, has one item. Okay, Rockland County Department of Planning, August 17th, have 6 items, and the applicant has asked that we override number 6, which reads, the parking calculation shall be provided to ensure that there's adequate number of parking spaces being provided. Parking, the reason why we're going to override it is that parking calculations are not being changed whatsoever. I believe the applicant said that they were going to slightly move a couple of the parking spaces, but the numbers will stay the same. Jay, am I correct?
That is correct, and that addresses number 4 of the county planning board letter.
6 on this one, right?
Point
6
of
is the
order.
override. 6 is the
We're overriding
requested
6.
override.
We're overriding 6.
Quick
Correct.
comment, just a correction, there's 7 items. There's not 6 items, there's 7.
Thank you very much. 7 items. Okay, so can I have a motion to override Rocklin County, August 17th letter?
Mr.
number-
Chairman, I think we should vote after opening it up to the public.
Okay, thank you. Okay, very good, thank you. Okay, so Rocklin County Department of Planning, August 17th has 7 items. Rocklin County Drainage, September 4th, basically a letter. New York State DEC, August 3rd, a letter. Okay, we have Rocklin County Planning, letting us be lead agent. Rocklin County Health, letting us be lead agent. Rocklin County Highway is letting us be lead agent. And that's all I have. I think, Cheryl, you have just that one other item in respect to Suez.
That's correct.
Okay, just add that in as one of the comments, please.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Open this up to the board. Mr. Young, questions or comments?
Sorry I was late, Mr. Chairman. My apologies to everyone there. I have no comment. These just seem like new means of egress to both of the businesses there. I'm good to go with this.
Thank you very much. Mr. Mandel?
Yeah, no comments as long as that stairway is changed. I think it's fine. It's not changing anything.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Sweeney?
Thank you. I'm okay with, when we get to it, I'm okay with the Akabor waive, and I'm okay with the stairwell. I think I appreciate the owner willing to change the design. I'll be okay with the parking spot override as well.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Dell?
Yes, sir, thank you. I'm glad that the applicant has agreed to the changes, and I think it should be waived by Akabor, and I wish them luck on the project, but obviously we'll be voting. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Let me just ask you a question that I don't know if we have to or not, but being that they are making changes on here, should the final be reviewed by the building department to make sure before a permit is issued that still conforms with code and everything else? Should that be part of it? Rick?
Mr. Chairman, I'm required to review the construction plans before releasing the permit.
Okay,
So not only do they have to comply with whatever your comments is, they have to comply with the building and fire codes.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so that answers that. Okay, I think, okay, Mr. Andrews, questions or comments?
I'm good with everything that it's been explained.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. McCory?
Thank you, Chairman. Like I said before, they're making this building safer, and that's a good thing. And as per Mr. Dell's request, it'll leave me better. So I'm on board with this.
Okay, thank you very much. I think the fire department will probably a little bit happier with it too. Okay, I'm gonna open it up to the public now. Anybody for the public wish to make questions or comments on this application? One more time, I'm opening up to the public. Does anybody have any questions or comments on this application at this time? Okay, hearing none, I'd ask for a motion to close public.
I move to close the public portion. Mr. Andrews?
Mr. Andrews.
Mr. Mandel, seconds.
Mr. Mandel, seconds. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Okay, no opposition. Okay, can I, motion for lead agent, please?
I move for lead agent, Mr. Andrews.
Thank you very much. Can I have a second for lead agent?
Second for lead agent, Mr. Mandel.
Mr. Mandel, thank you very much. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Okay, none. Thank you very much. Motion for a neg deck.
Mr. Mandel, motion for a neg deck.
Mr. Mandel makes a motion for a neg deck. Do I have a second for the neg deck?
Young seconds.
Young seconds. Thank you very much. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposition? Hearing none. Okay. I'm looking for a motion for final with conditions.
Motion for final with conditions, Mr. Mandel.
Okay, Mr. Mandel's final with conditions. And the conditions are Jane Slavin, September 3rd, 2 items. Okay.
One.
Okay, one of the items is the ACA board review. Does the board want them to go to ACA board on this, or do we want to override that aspect?
Motion to waive ACABOR.
Okay, Mr. Mandel says to waive item number 1, which is the ACA board review. Do I have a second? Mr. Sweeney seconds. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? None. Good. Number 1 is overridden. So Jane Slavin only has 1 comment. Bruce Peters, September 8th, 1 comment. Rocklin County Planning, August 17th. They have 6 comments. We've overridden number 6, which is the parking calculations shall be provided to ensure that there's adequate number of parking spaces being provided. The number of parking spaces are not being changed. That's why we're overriding it.
We didn't override it yet. We didn't override that yet. No.
I didn't hear you.
And that probably should be a separate vote since you need a supermajority.
Okay, I thought we already did that. Didn't we do that before? Oh, no, that's right. We held off on it. Okay. Can I have a motion for overriding Rocklin County Department of Planning, August 17th letter, number 6, which is a parking calculations shall be provided to ensure that an adequate number of parking spaces being provided. Do I have a motion to override that?
Mr. Mandel, motion to override based upon the fact that no parking spaces are being removed and the traffic studies have been done in prior construction at that location, and nothing has changed since then, so I motion to override.
Okay, thank you very much. Do I have a second on that motion?
I'll second it, Mr. Mandel.
Young seconds.
Okay, Mr. Young second. Okay, all in favor?
Roll call.
Aye. Any opposition?
Mr. Mandel, aye.
Fine. So Rocklin County Planning, August 17th, has 6 items. Okay, Rocklin County Drainage, September 4th, just has correspondence. New York State DEC, August 3rd, correspondence. And that's all that. The other item is, a condition is that, I'll be right with you, Jay, is that the applicant has agreed to relook at the staircase and to modify it in accordance with town codes, to enlarge the staircase and to enlarge the platform.
And to round the corner.
It's around the corners.
And around the corners. Okay?
It's a condition.
Do you want to make any more specifications? I'm not sure. Just to say he has to enlarge it. I think Mr. Dell had mentioned how much enlarge.
Mr. Dell asked that the stairs be increased to 5 feet wide, that the landing be rounded off and increased by 2 feet, so there's no real corners. Is there anything else, Mr. Dell, on that?
No, I think you covered it, sir. Thank you.
That would be a condition.
That would be, yes, is a condition. Okay? Do I have okay? Do I have a second on that?
McCrory second.
Okay, Mr. Dell seconds it. Okay, all in favor? Aye. Is there any opposition to it? Okay, none. Okay, so that's it. You got your final.
Thank you, board.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Oh, Jay, you had something. Do you want to say something? I'm sorry.
Just a minor correction. There were 7 items on the county planning board memo.
We overrode number 6, which was the parking calculation. So that dropped it down to 6.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, next item is PB 20-38, Bergson subdivision lots 3.1-2 site plan. Okay.
Do you want, I'm Walter Orell, and I'm the architect for the Bergson family.
Yes, sir.
I'm not Suzanne Barkley, it's my wife's laptop, but that's me.
Yeah. Turn off your mic.
I turned it on.
Oh, you turned it on.
Yes. Good evening, everyone. As I said, I'm Walter Orell, the architect, and others on this meeting are Simon Bergson, who is the owner, Gail Gluckstern, who is going to be one of the occupants of the house, and Dave Getz, who is an engineer who did the drainage plan, and let's see, Jay Greenwell did the survey and worked on the subdivision of the property. And that's Margaret Garcia, an architect from my office. Just to introduce it quickly, we're presenting to you a proposal for a new house on lot 2 of the newly approved subdivision. The house is for Brianne Bergson, and as I said, Miguel Gluckstern. Brianne is Simon Bergson's daughter, and their young daughter, recently born. So I wanted to just give you a quick sense of what the project looks like. I know this is the planning board, but we have a few images just to give you a sense of the character of the house. And Margaret's going to put them on the screen right now. So you have to take Margaret, I guess, give her the screen, Margaret Garcia. Are we doing that correctly?
That's it. There you go.
There we are.
Okay, there you go. So, Margaret, I would just flip through these quickly and then just leave it on the east elevation at the end.
Okay. So first one, the cover sheet.
Yeah. This is just the overall view of the larger site plan, or actually the subdivision plan. This is the site plan that you have in your possession now that we're going to be talking about, lot 2. That's the plan of the building that you can actually see on the site plan, just at a larger scale. These are some elevations. And this is just a rendering of the east elevation, the north elevation, and the west elevation. So, as I said, I just wanted to give you just a look at the house that we're proposing. And I would say we're open for questions at this point. We want to answer any questions that the planning board has, and also to address some of the items that came up on the letters that were just submitted. So Margaret, I guess we could take the picture off.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, let's do the consultant's reports while you do that. Okay, Jane Slavin, September 3rd. She has 4 items. If you have any questions while we're going through this, please stop us and we'll go through them, okay?
Sure.
Okay, she has 4 items. Department of Environmental Management and Engineering, Town of Orangetown, Bruce Peters, September 8th. They have 10 items. Booker Engineering, September 8th. Drainage review recommendations. The applicant,
Yeah, I do.
excuse me, Somebody say anything?
No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Mr.
Okay.
Chairman.
Okay, no problem. Drainage review recommendations. The applicant has provided significant information to demonstrate that potential significant adverse impacts with respect to drainage can be mitigated. We therefore recommend that the Bergson site plan lot 3.1-2, be approved for drainage subject to the above comments, of which there are 10. Rocklin County Department of Planning, August 17. They have 10 items. Now, here's a letter from Colgan Perry, lawyer, and Earl, pertaining to the applicant's submittal. It's in response to the Rocklin County Planning letter. There are 10 items.
Mr. Chairman, if I may.
Okay,
There are a
who's
couple
that?
of things.
Okay, Jay. Yeah, go ahead.
There were a couple of things we'd like to discuss. Do you want to do these all at the end?
Let's do them while we go through, Jay. Where are we starting at?
All right, then let's go back to Jane's comment, Jane Slavin's comment number 3. Walter, I think we need to address the utilization of the guest house.
Sure, but Jay, don't we want to, I mean, we could just go through the items and, in numerical order and just address them. I mean, we should address 1 and 2 as well.
Okay,
Right.
well, let's go through it.
Yeah, I can do that. So on item 1, the site plan indicates that the main dwelling is a new 2-story dwelling. However, a letter from Walter Orell indicates the dwelling is a 1-story dwelling with a loft. Please clarify. It's basically a 1-story building with a loft. I think I created some ambiguity because I labeled it one way on the application and another way on the site plan. It's essentially a 1-story building. It has a 420 square foot loft. So I think on my planning board or my application for the building permit, I said it was a 1.5 story house. So I mean, we could just settle on, if it's acceptable to the board, we can call it a 1-story house with a loft.
You're gonna have to straighten this out with Ms. Slavin on it, okay? Because you can go
Sure.
through it.
It's really a semantic thing, and it's confusion that I've caused, but
Right.
I'm sure we can resolve that. The second one is that ACABOR review is required. And so, of course, we're going to go to ACABOR when we finish with the planning board. Item 3 is review and approval by the ZPA are required for the existing structure indicated to be utilized as a guest house and a film studio. We would like to suggest that the building will just be used as a guest house, not as not anything else. So that is permitted on an R80 in an R80 zone. So that's how we'd like to define it and leave it. On 4, I think these are more sort of procedural things. The applicant is reminded that no work can begin and no permit be issued until all comments are met from the various agencies. And the final plan is stamped by the chief clerk to the board. And that's it. That's it for the director of the building department. And then Jay,
Can I just jump in a second? You don't have to read every single one. We already read them. You can just tell us the ones you want to discuss.
Okay.
Right.
Enough.
I mean, okay,
Jay,
you may have, like Mr. Sweeney's saying, you may have some concerns per a particular item, but if there's something that you really want to discuss with us,
Okay.
okay, other than that, we're gonna be here all night going over each item, which
Okay, I'll try to limit.
because you're gonna have to satisfy all these comments with.
Sure.
Okay, so you're gonna have to sit down with Ms. Slavin, you're gonna have to sit down with Mr. Peters and go through each item. You're gonna have to satisfy them, that once it's satisfied with them, they'll tell you that they're happy with it or whatever changes they'll make, and then we could proceed further on down.
Okay,
You know what I mean? So there's no sense of going through each item now because we really can't do anything. Okay?
okay. So.
I mean, if there's something really germane that you wish to bring out, fine, we'll
Well, I
listen.
I think the two items were the definition of 1 story or 2 story or 1.5 stories. The other one would just be the use of the building. And I think essentially if it is requested that we just go with a guest house on the R80 site, I think the Bergsons are very happy to just do that.
Okay, like I said, you're gonna have to straighten that out with Ms. Slavin.
Okay.
And then she'll explain to you what you have to do in respect to the plans and what you have to do.
Okay.
Okay. Jane, do you have any statement on that?
Not on Jane Slavin's
No.
memo, but I did want to
No.
discuss Bruce Peters's memo.
Yeah, well, no, we haven't gotten there. I asking Jane Slavin if she had any questions on that.
I am fine with the explanation, and if the applicant is making the determination that they will only use it as a guest house, I think that should be part of the decision. That it can only be used as a guest house.
Okay, let me go back. Only as a guest house, not. Okay, thank you. Okay, Department of Environmental Management and Engineering, Town of Orangetown, September 8th, Bruce Peters has 10 items. Okay.
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir. Go ahead, Jack.
The review of the subdivision left it in the board's discretion to take another look at the entrance drive that comes off of Woods Road to access the 2 existing structures, which were now placed onto their own lots, as well as the vacant lot, which is behind Simon Bergson's family home, which is going to stay vacant for the foreseeable future as he's incorporated it into his garden. And that was always the plan. The subdivision, as I said, there was a specific note on the plat which gives the planning board discretion to review the upgrading of the driveway to a 24-foot wide road to rural specifications. Thank you, Jane. In conjunction with this, we prepared an exhibit showing the pavement width of various areas, the main roads through the Sneeden's Landing area, and in particular the Woods Road, which is 13 feet, 11 feet, 9 feet, and averaging somewhere in the neighborhood of 10. The neighbors like it this way. It is a self-restricting speed limitation. People that whenever they come to another car, they slow way down and sidle off to the edge and pass each other either at a driveway apron or little turnoffs. This is what leads to the bucolic atmosphere of the area and a lot of its charm. The idea of having the whole of Woods Road be 10 or 11 or 12 feet wide and then widen to a 24-foot wide rural road that's going to serve this house and the existing cottage and the vacant lot that is owned by Mr. Bergson, we think is way of an overkill. So Bruce Peters was intimating that he would prefer or he would like to see this improved to the rural road based on that note, but it is up to the planning board to make that decision. And we would appeal to a sense of reason and logic that it really doesn't make a whole lot of sense and would deteriorate the neighborhood and the area and the charm, and certainly would be way of an overkill for what would be required for this very woodsy development at the end of Woods Road, and would also lend to more pavement, which is certainly not, more tree removal, more drainage crossing underneath the culverts and so on. So we would appeal to the board not to require the road improvement to the rural road specifications. You are going to have another crack at it if, as and when any other development comes in, either the vacant lot, which is behind Mr. Bergson's family house, or the other smaller dwelling, which will be occupied by one of the caretakers of the Bergson property compound. So again, so as far as Bruce Peters number 1 and 2, we would ask that the board not require an upgrading of the driveway to a full rural road specification. Other than that, we have no issues with Mr. Bruce's other comments on the drainage and details of erosion control and riprap, et cetera. Thank you.
Thank you. I kind of like your idea. I don't know what the rest of the board feels. Let me go through the rest of these comments, and then when we come back to the board's discussions, I'll bring this up and we'll discuss it a little bit further.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Booker Engineering, September 8th. Again, drainage has been approved with 10 comments. Rocklin County Planning, August 17th has 10 comments. Okay, and the letter, okay, we've gone through everything else. Okay, so that's repetition. Okay, I want to open it up to the board now. Do they have any questions or comments on this? Okay, Mr. Young.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm in agreement with you regarding Mr. Greenwell's comments about widening the road. I'll just say that up front. I agree. There's no need to widen it. Being up there, looking at the sites in the past few years. I like the geothermal use for your HVAC. I'm just curious to know, Ms. Slavin, if she's got any insight on this. Does that affect the drainage or the disposal to the sewer systems? But I do like the fact that you're going to be introducing that into the. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. Okay, Mr. Mandel. Where'd you go?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm above you. Yeah, look up.
Oh, there you are. Okay. You're hiding up there.
That's it. I'm hiding in the corner.
Yeah.
Just comment on what Mr. Greenwald brought up. The house is extremely environmentally friendly. And and we're going along with, say the environment, the sustainability and everything. I think a new road would definitely add additional impervious area, which would affect the runoff and the drainage and everything. As Mr. Young said, I don't think it's necessary at all. Let this the road that's there continue to be as it is. And other than that, changing since he answered it already about the size of the house, this has to be corrected on the different things, the site plan as to a story with loft, okay? Other than that, I think it's a great project. I have no other questions at this time. If we have public comment, I'll reserve the right to bring it up again. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Sweeney.
Thank you. Yeah, I agree with the first two comments. I think the design of the house is excellent and there's no need to ruin it by widening the road. I think it's good the way it is. I agree with Jay's suggestion. My only two questions or comments are on the Rocklin County Department of Planning. Number 2 talked about Department of Highways concerns and the applicant's response said not applicable. I don't know why they think it's not applicable. And then also in number 4, it talks about the Army Corps of Engineer report is required. And number 4, their response says it was the report. There is a report, but I don't see the report. I'd like to know what that review was. Those are my only comments.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Dell. Oh, wait, excuse me, Mr. Dell. Hold on a second. Jay, do you have something?
Yes, there was a complete review and a jurisdictional letter issued by the Army Corps of Engineers, and the plan that Mr. Getz has prepared with Walter, they're not going into the wetlands, so there's no impact on the Army Corps wetlands. And I don't understand why they threw in the issue about review by county highway. There's really no county roads in the area. And as far as number 10 is concerned on the county planning board, there was a full sewer main, private sewer main extension. And Rick Picola was very involved with Ira Emanuel in developing a transportation corporation, which was required. So there is going to be no septic systems on these properties. They're all going to be connected to a force main. If you recall, when we did the subdivision, it's going out to a gravity line in 9W. Thank you.
Thank you very
Okay,
much.
that's kind of why I asked about number 2. Do we have to waive that or something if it doesn't apply, the highways?
I think you can just leave it as a condition that's self-satisfying if there's no impact.
Right.
Yeah, you don't have to waive it.
Okay,
Okay.
Don't make it a condition.
okay, thank you.
We'll just leave it in, and it just doesn't mean anything. All right. Okay, thank you. Mr. Dell.
Thank you, sir. Looks like they spent a lot of time on this. It looks like a good plan. I certainly agree with what we said about not developing the access road. There are some questions I have when I'm looking at this site. One is that I see a very strange area that looks almost like a walking path when you first come in. That would be just to the north of the proposed driveway. Am I reading that wrong, or what is that?
Bob, I
It
can
looks
answer
like a bow and arrow configuration.
that.
Yeah.
The wider part that you see is actually just the road that leads to the turnaround. But the path is actually a path, and if you're on that site and since these are properties that are contiguous and in the same ownership, Brianne and Miguel's house, this new house, connects via that road and that path to Simon and Stephanie's house, the parents. So it is in fact a walking path. It's just an alternate way of getting to the house on a more human scaled kind of pathway.
Walter, is that paved or not?
That was going to be my question. I believe it's going to be unpaved, correct, Walter?
Well, it would be either, like flagstones or bluestone paving.
So it's not going to be asphalt.
Not going to be asphalt, correct.
Okay, I think that should be indicated on there. Now, the next one is onto the existing structure that's on there. You say is going to be a guest house. You have a little extension of that driveway to the south towards the property line. Is that going to be eliminated? Is that here for a reason? What's that for? Right now, it looks like a in terms of shape.
Bob, if you're talking about the hatched part of the road,
yes,
that is pavement to be removed. There's a note that actually points to that.
Okay, I missed that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, anything that is diagonally hatched is pavement.
Okay, good. I see it now.
That
Thank
actually
you very
figures into our drainage calculation.
Okay,
That's
good,
right.
good. I'm sorry, I missed that note.
Right, Dave?
Going on.
Yes.
Okay, the next thing is you have quite a bit of woods along the north and the east perimeter. And are those trees going to be saved?
Let's see.
Now it's a shaded dark area.
Bob,
The
I'm
area is
looking at
shaded
the
in-
site plan and I'm just not quite.
What's he saying?
Could you repeat that? I'm trying to locate it on the
Okay,
site.
in the north and
Yeah.
along the east, there is a, almost like going around the house. There's a
Oh, I see.
darkened area, which I assume that those trees will remain, or what is that for?
The tree, there's a tree that is shown, it's a 16-inch caliber beech.
And I'm talking about the entire swath.
Okay.
I believe, Mr. Dell, I believe you're looking at what's. if I may-
Mr. Dell? Mr. Dell,
Wetlands there.
Yes.
if you look at the
And
top
those
of the
will
plan
stay.
right in the middle, and look down one line. It says proposed limit of disturbance. Follow that across. It'll show you.
Yeah,
where-
it's kind of hard to read this.
Okay, so everything to the right of that line is undisturbed. So that whole
Okay,
area, which is green, is all undisturbed.
Right, and it's
Okay.
in fact wetlands, so.
Correct.
all right, could you make that a little clearer on the plan so a building inspector in the field would not have
Sure.
this?
Our goal, and actually what is accomplished on this site plan, is that there's a 10-foot buffer between the wetlands and any part of our intervention, whether it's paving or architecture. So there's a
All
10-foot
right, now I
buffer.
understand the
Separate.
intention. Just make that a little clearer as to what it
Sure.
is. Maybe just say a contract limit line or whatever you wish to have, some way so it's a little more clearly indicated. The other thing is, how are you going to have that delineated? Is it going to be with silt fence, snow fence? Just
It
going to
shows you right there, the proposed silt fence. Mr.
We
Dell?
show a continuous silt fence barrier along that edge.
Okay, again, a little bit much going on in this plan. Next question, and this will be
For sure.
comments are, in the detention basin, you're not removing trees in there, or you can leave them all in there?
That's right. We are not removing trees. It's proposed to be a low berm that will meander in a way that preserves the trees.
All right. And I assume that the trees that are existing there, if I remember correctly, would not have any problem being in a wet condition because that's a condition of the lot. Okay, the
You
only
wouldn't be
question I
camping
would
for
have is, well, since you're not disturbing anything, I think that's the extent of my questions. Thank you very much.
Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you very much. Okay, Mr. Andrews?
I think it's an excellent plan. I agree 100% with not widening the road. And I wish you all well. Thank you.
Thank you
Thank you.
very much. Mr. McCory?
Thank you, Chairman. Just got a question about the access road there. If you can clear it up. If Bruce Peters, is he saying he would like it to be 24 feet according to his letter? That's how I'm kind of reading it. 24 feet wide to town road specifications. Is that what?
Yeah. Essentially a 2-lane road. That's what he's calling for.
All right. And then on your plans, am I reading this right, that you have it at 30 feet wide? Is that
No.
that number's kind of?
It's
No,
minor disturbance.
that's the right of way. We haven't really altered the width of the road as it is, which is, it averages about 11 feet. It gets to
All right.
11.
Yeah, I couldn't find the width of the road. So you have it at 11 feet?
Well, we have it as it exists now, which is an average of 11 feet, 11'6".
Give it
There
to-
was
all right,
no
then-
proposed, there was no proposed widening beyond what it
Right.
is now. The original plan, the subdivision plat, allowed for a 30-foot right of way that would be jointly maintained, and there was specific language that was required during the course of the subdivision so that each of the lots would have to maintain the access road. So there was no change to the proposed now to the road up until you get into lot 2, where it becomes that walking path and the access driveway to the new house.
All right. Yeah, I see that. I just wanted to figure out the numbers of the width, because I know we've had this come up a few times with flag lots and access to rear yards, and we've always had an issue with fire department access, emergency vehicle access, and I just wonder why they haven't commented on 11-foot wide access to a new residence, in the back there.
Well, Mr. McCrory, if I
That's
could
fine.
just say, all of Woods Road, or a significant part of it is exactly the same width as this, what we're calling essentially a driveway. So I understand the concern on the one hand about emergency equipment, but on the other hand, Woods Road itself is a windy, very narrow road. And that's really the character of the neighborhood there. And the road is constantly filled with people walking and strollers and, dog walking, and cars can only go a few miles an hour, basically walking speed, to avoid, basically it's a traffic calming thing that the neighborhood really appreciates. I think the whole community would be up in arms if it was widened to 24 feet. And all I'm saying, though, is that the driveway is essentially the same condition and width as the prevailing feeder road. So it was.
Yes, no, I understand, but it seems like now you got a new family living back there and possible development of another lot. So I just wonder why there hasn't been a concern for the fire department to get access to these rear lots that look like they're starting to get developed. That's my only concern about that road, but that's, I'm one member, so.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Mr. Bond, do you have any questions or comments on this?
No, I'm okay with it.
Okay, thank you very much. I think these people have done a fantastic job. I think this is a great plan. I think the concerns on it are very minimal. I think, I don't know if the board feels this way, but I'd like to see this project go on if the board feels that way. If that's the case, we can let them go on, and I'm going to ask for a motion for lead agent.
Motion for lead.
If there's any public comment.
Mr. Chairman,
Ask if there's
Yes.
public-
have you asked if anybody wishes to comment?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm messed up over here. Okay, thank you very much. It's getting a little late. Okay, I'm gonna open this up to the public. Does anybody in the public have any questions or comments on this application? Okay, one more time. Does anybody from the public have any questions or comments on this application?
I
Okay,
make a motion to close the public portion.
Mr. Sweeney makes a motion.
I'll second.
Mr. Mandel seconds. Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Okay, hearing no opposition, the public session is closed. Okay, motion for. Do I have a motion for lead agent? Mr. Mandel?
Motion
Okay,
for lead agency.
thank you, sir. Do I have a second? Mr. Sweeney seconds it. Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Okay, no opposition. Motion for neg deck. Mr. Young makes a motion for Young, neg deck. Do I have a second?
Mr. Andrews seconds.
Mr. Andrews, second.
Negative declaration of environmental concerns.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition on the neg deck? Okay, fine. Okay, do I have a motion for final with, or for preliminary?
Preliminary.
I am sorry, I corrected myself real quick. Preliminary with conditions.
Motion for preliminary with conditions, Mr. Mandel.
Okay, and the conditions are, Jane Slavin, September 3rd. She has 4 items, but item number 3 reads, review and approval by ZBA are required for the existing structure indicating to be utilized as a guest house and film studio for Town Code Section 11.2 definition, go on to the definition. The app has said that they change that and take the film studio out and only leave to say that it'll be utilized as a guest house. Okay?
That's got to be a condition.
That is a condition, that the film studio aspect will come out.
It can only be used as a guest house.
Correct. Okay. Department of Environmental Management and Engineering, September 3rd. Bruce Peters has 10 items. The board has discussed both items, number 1 and number 2. And we're going to do each one separately. I don't think we can do them together. We'll do number 1. The board feels that the road should maintain as is, as a private roadway, and not be improved to town rule standards. Do I have a motion on that to eliminate that aspect?
Motion, Mr. Mandel.
I think 1 and 2 kind of, I think 1 and 2 are kind of tied together, so I'd like to make a motion to override both of them, or waive
Okay, I think-
both of them.
I think we should do each one separately, Mr. Sweeney, just to cover bases. Okay? I know it's redundancy, but let's do it that way, guys. He has the 2 separate items. Okay, Mr. Mandel makes the motion.
Motion to waive.
Excuse me?
The motion to waive.
Yes, item number 1 on Peters's September 8th letter. Do I have a second?
Mr. Andrews seconds.
Mr. Andrews seconds. All in favor? Aye. Any opposition? None. Okay, can I have a motion to override number 2 on Mr. Peters?
I'm sorry to interject, but again, you're not waiving, you're not overriding. You're just
Okay,
not
waiver, I'm sorry.
making those conditions. You don't have to override and there's nothing to waive. You're just not making 1 and 2 a condition.
Okay, so we can just eliminate them.
Yes,
We don't have to override.
you
Okay,
don't have to override. The only one you have to override ever is the county planning. That's the only one
Okay.
that has to be overridden.
okay, thank you very much. Okay, so let's go back to the beginning. Town of Orangetown, Department of Environmental Management, September 8th letter from Bruce Peters has 8 items. Number 1 and number 2 are eliminated. Okay, Booker Engineering, September 8th. Drainage is approved with 10 items. Rockland County Department of Planning, they have 10, August 17th has 10 items. And that's it. I don't think are there any other conditions? I believe that's it. Cheryl, I don't think there's anything else that we talked about, is there?
That's it. There aren't any more.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, can I have a second? Mr. Young makes a second. Okay, all in favor? Aye. Any opposition? Hearing none. Ladies and gentlemen, you have your preliminary.
Thank you very much.
Good luck with it. Thank you. Okay, Cheryl, anything else?
No, there's nothing else to do.
Okay, can I have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, Mr.
Yes,
Chairman,
sir.
2 questions.
Yes,
Number
sir.
1, we have several people who work in Manhattan and other areas. Should we not move the meeting back to 7:30?
Okay, I meant to bring that up. Thank you very much. Discussion from the board members.
And actually, if you look at the website for the town, it said the meeting was 7:30 tonight, so. Just to let everybody know, it did say it was 7:30.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna hang on just to hear where.
We're just doing a little business, that's all. So, I mean,
But you might.
so you guys want to go back to 7:30? I have no problem with it, either way. I know Mr. Sweeney is teaching school, so he might have an issue. Mr. McCory, I think, might have some issues with it too. I don't know about Mr. Young. I don't know if he's working from home. You know, I don't know anybody's, does anybody have a problem staying at 7 or 7:30? What is the,
7:30 is good with me, so.
okay,
I'm
let me go
going
down. Let me go down the line. Mr. Young, what would you rather have?
Home until January, but 7:30 is fine.
Okay, Mr. Mandel.
7:30.
Okay, Mr. Sweeney.
I'm good with either.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Dell.
7:30.
Okay, Mr. Andrews.
I'm good with 7:30.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. McCory.
7:30 works good.
Thank you very much. Mr. Bond.
Yeah, 7:30 is fine.
Okay, so the board favors going back to 7:30. Okay, excellent. All right. Anything else?
Second
Yes, sir.
question. When are we going to go back to in-person meetings? The town board has been doing it since August. It seems like it works out quite well.
Between you, me, and the lampshade, I hope never. I think this is really working out good. I don't think anybody's objecting to this. I think ZBA wants to go back. I don't know what's gonna happen. I think it's gonna really be, what the building department is gonna be comfortable with. Because I think, that, to have an in-person meeting, because we're looking, the town board meeting room is pretty big. We have a pretty small room. Miss Jane, do you have anything to say on it?
Well, one of the issues is that the planning board is the biggest board in the town. The town board is 5 members. The other boards are 5 members. Our applications tend to have multiple people attending for each application for the applicant. The zoning board, it's normally 1 or 2 people. So at this point, it's working. Obviously, Mr. Chairman and the board, the decision is up to you guys. It's not up to myself or the building department. But it is working, and my gut feeling is let's wait it out a little bit, because they're shutting colleges down. I think it's only a couple of weeks before they start shutting other things down. The zoning board did, they were successful. Their first meeting, though, was a lot longer because people have to wait outside. It's got to be a little bit more staged. And our projects are typically much larger, bigger drawings. I am working on trying to get a large screen to bring into the department so that we can project the drawings up onto a screen so everyone can see it without having to interact with each other. But to spread all of you out in the main courtroom, which is where they're holding the meetings, is difficult. And also scheduling it. So at this point, if everyone's comfortable, I think we might want to wait another meeting or two to see what happens with everyone else going back to normal.
Okay.
That's my suggestion.
Okay, thank you. Personally, I kind of agree. I think we can discuss this at every meeting, because there's normally 2 weeks in between a meeting, so things could be changed, maybe not for the next meeting, but for the one after that. Like Jane said, things are getting crazy again with the colleges and everything else. And I don't want to put anybody in jeopardy. We don't know what's going to happen. This crazy virus can go on forever and ever, and we don't know. This is working very well. It's actually, I think, a little, everybody's more comfortable. You're all home. So it's not a question that you have to go out and anything. But that's my opinion. Anybody want else to discuss it?
Can I get another 24?
I'm okay with waiting a while before we go back, so.
Yeah, well, I would suggest to have at least finish this month out, September, maybe even go into October, do October here like this, virtual. And then by November, see what's going on. If everybody's agreeable on that, we can address it again at the end of October. If we want to continue going on, we can keep right on going on. No, I don't think there's anybody that says we have to meet. And I think right now, the governor in his infinite wisdom has said that we can continue meeting virtual. So I think we should take advantage of that. And until we're told that we have to meet in person, and then we can really discuss it as to what we want to do. Because like Jay said, they're sending kids home from schools. So I don't know. That's just my opinion. So should we look at it that way? Let's finish out September, go into October, and then rediscuss it?
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I certainly agree with what everyone has been saying, and I myself am classified as a high-risk individual. So erring towards the side of safety is not a bad thing. But,
you've been a high-risk person.
Accuses us or demanding that we get variances for having home offices.
I don't know. That's my opinion. I think we should just keep doing what we're doing.
Hey, can I request another 24-inch monitor?
Excuse me? I didn't hear you.
Can I request a 24-inch monitor so I could put the plans up on my other monitor?
I think a bigger one, like a 40 or 50,
50 would be fine.
Listen, I'm going to do a budget presentation on Saturday, and it's going to be rough. So I don't know if I'm getting any extra equipment.
You just got to hook it into the big flat screen at home, you're all set.
Yeah. So.
Mr. Chairman, I just had a question. When you were, I'm sorry?
We're all done with,
We're all done.
yeah,
I was under the impression that you were going to possibly go to a final decision tonight.
no.
No, okay.
No. You got your preliminary, so you can move on with that.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Thanks.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
everybody.
Okay. Okay, let's go back. Do I have a motion to close this meeting? I'm gonna
Motion to adjourn.
say I want to go home. Mr.
Motion to adjourn.
Mr. Young seconds it. All in favor? Everybody says yes. Goodbye, y'all. Thank you so
Stay
very,
healthy,
very
everyone.
much.
This
Bye-bye.
conference is no longer